a better Nigeria? Is it a myth or do we keep hoping?
Nigeria is a highly religious country. How come corruption thrives?
Why is adoption not encouraged in Nigeria?
Is there a future for the Nigerian youth?
Being rich and famous, is that the only drive to be an artist?
What makes a great nation? Is it the leaders? What about the people?
This is Answers with Dr. Redjo.
My name is Obi. We're glad to have you around with us today. In the studio, we have Rolake Iroye.
Good evening, all.
And we have Isaac Omoni.
Good evening.
And as always, the one and only Dr. Redjo.
Thank you, Obi.
Yeah, thank you. It's always great to have you here, sir.
Thank you.
We've had a wonderful time talking about parenting. It's been wonderful, and we thank you for your comments. We thank you for your Facebook posts and the questions you've been writing us. Today, we're going to expand the concept of parenting a little bit and our discussions. It's been great. Rolake has a question.
Yes, I do.
Okay.
You talked about spanking.
Caning.
Caning. Caning.
Or whipping.
Or whipping.
Or
Or
whipping.
whatever.
Growing up, mine was not caning or whipping. Mine was flogging.
Okay.
No, we had trees in the house. So when, it doesn't matter what you do, there was no gauge. There was no scale. It's good, it's small, it's large, it doesn't matter. You cut these fresh sticks. Sometimes the sticks might even have thorns and whip you. If you run around, it doesn't matter, they will chase you around. So when I don't even run around, I just bend down there, whip you, your back with tear.
Mm-hmm.
You hit any part of your body, it doesn't matter. When they're done, you go. So now, I told myself, I won't spank my children like this. And children, of course, you said childishness is in the heart of children. So when I want to spank them, I have a 4-year-old and 1 year, some months.
Okay.
I spank them. That's the only form of discipline I've grown to know. So I spank them. And when I spank, I get scared. Oh my God, am I turning out like my father? And I don't want to spank, and I'm also afraid. Am I going to spoil them if I don't spank them? That's the only form of discipline I know. So how do I balance
That's
that
parenting.
as a parent?
Parenting is being able to find that balance, right? And now it starts by you knowing the purpose. Why am I spanking? And then if you spank a 1-year-old, I don't know what you're trying to do. I don't think she understands, I don't think she understands. If you spank a 1-year-old, it's just be, what kind of spanking would that be? I don't know what a 1-year-old would do wrong that will require being spanked. I think that's taken a bit too far.
Okay.
A 1-year-old, is it that she fell down while walking?
Are they being childish or are they rebelling?
I don't see 1 year. But you see, there are better ways of... But you can spank a 1-year-old by just holding the arm and just using 2 fingers to just...
Yes.
Maybe that's what you're doing. That's okay. It's just to show the child that there are consequences for actions.
Yeah.
But again, what I always advocate is the 4-year-old, the 5-year-old, when you spank, because growing up, they tell me that that's why God gave us 2 hands. If you use the right hand to correct the child, you use the left to pull the child to yourself. I remember one experienced nurse who used to come to the house to come and give my nephew jabs when my nephew is sick. She always come with biscuit. And I asked her and she explained that children don't understand being given a jab that is for their benefit. They see it as wickedness. And then when she gives the jab, she gives the biscuit. So whenever he falls ill and this old nurse comes to the house, he knows that if there's a jab, there's also biscuit. So it's like a stick and carrot kind of thing. So when you spank, you know that this child is old enough to be spanked when that child can also understand when you explain why he or she was spanked.
Okay.
If that child can't understand that, it's fruitless, spanking. Spanking in the sense of, I'm not saying you should use stick with thorns. That's, I know my dad can do that kind of a thing. I had a principal who was vicious. I won't mention his name on the program. But he was vicious. We consider him to be a very wicked man. But no parent spank out of hatred. They don't want you to go wrong. That's always the purpose. Now, that's for those whose parents spank them. But parents who spank, you want to be able to manage it. Are you willing? Are you able to make out the time to explain after the spanking why you spanked? right? And then then you know that your spanking is succeeding when, as the child grows, there is more talk than the spanking.
Okay.
You know, then you know that he or she is responding when there is less spanking and more talk. But I will say this because I know our time is almost off. We have a challenge today of emotionally weak children. We have adults today who can't hold their own. You know, they are not, like I told the gathering on Sunday, that a lot of people in this generation, they are on a journey to arriving at a destination where their lives will be just average. They don't understand discipline. They don't understand self-restraint. Whatever they want it as at yesterday. They don't know the value of waiting. They are not tough, you know, because they were never spanked, because they were never corrected. They were just allowed to just grow wild, you know. Many of them are just a group of, you know, very vulnerable, weak-hearted kind of people. But this world, with the way it is, requires courageous, adventurous people, like I say, people with strong foreheads who can hold their own. I will always use myself as an example to people that I lead, that I started living alone at age 16. And that's why I can do a lot of things that I do today. That's why I've set high standards for myself. Age 16, I was already living alone. You know, I wake up by myself, go to school, come back, manage my money and all those kind of things. You know, if I'm broke till the next day that I'm supposed to get money, there's nothing I will do. So I learned all those kind of things from that age, and it wasn't that I come from a poor home. So it's so important that parents know how to withdraw stuff from their kids and how to give even when they don't expect it. So parenting is about being dynamic, being balanced, and watchful. Highly observant. See how what you are given is being received.
Okay.
It's so, you know, you don't retire from it. You don't retire from it. You don't have any time when you cool off, you know. So that's so critical. I think I've taken so much time.
Yeah. Let's just have one last one from Isaac before we go.
Well, I didn't know we still have time.
Well,
Well, Dr. Reju, my question has more to do, if I look at my own generation compared to now, because my question is in line with the issue of not being lily-livered in our generation.
Yeah.
But outside there is really, really tough. In my own day, I was spanked, I was being toughened on for me to face a tougher society.
That's
But
right.
then how do we now create that balance now? Knowing there are a lot of things today that is really dangling before guys. Because I know a lot of guys today who are never ready to get married. Because they are looking for a lady who is working. They don't want to work. Where does this trend actually come from?
Well, again, it's a product of we swing like pendulum. There was a time when we don't educate women in our culture because they say one man would take responsibility for them, right? Now it is, don't be too tough on. He's a boy, right? Just give him some leeway. You know, you don't treat a boy like that. And then we begin to spoil them. You see, our society is messed up. And we have to, first of all, appreciate that, accept that. And this is not a world where somebody should be weak, right? The society, life is designed to defeat the weak. Life is designed to defeat the weak. They even say in common parlance, they say, it's the survival of the fittest. You know, why are you questioning the one who is fit? Why didn't you ask how come he's fit and I'm not? Parents are responsible. If a guy turns out to be a weakling, blame the parents. If he turns out to be an unguided, strong person, blame the parents. If it's somebody who comes as a cool, calm, collected, he has government order structure in his life, credit the parents. So that's why it's a 24/7, 365, 366 kind of job. It's so important that we know where to draw that balance. You can cane your child into rebellion. Right? You say, after all, it's going to cane me. That's all. Once he canes me now, that's it. You know, you can. And you can also withhold the cane into rebellion. So what do you do? What do you do? So it's because we can't give prescriptions here, but we have to say that this is a call to responsibility. No child just turn out good, and no child just turn out bad. It is because somebody have an input.
I find that a lot of times, right, you could begin to, take time out to craft a certain skill, particularly skills, into kids, because you want them to be something, right? Maybe 18 years when they're 18 or 20, all right? But those skills need to start when they're very young.
Okay.
Skills like sports, music, right? It takes time. Artistry, it really takes time. And the people who we find that sometimes you want to begin to make time for that kid, right? To spend a lot of time doing it. And usually to be able to spend time, on that skill, it will eat into a little bit of the normal general schoolwork.
Absolutely.
All right. Now, how do you, follow that through so meticulously when, you have to, you're almost, folding that child really into shaping that child.
You used the word craft before.
Yeah.
Craft can be negative and it can also be positive.
It can also be positive. Look at the Williams sisters, for instance.
Yeah.
That started learning tennis at 5.
Yeah.
Just what if, after 15 years of molding, one of them got up and said, I'm not interested.
Again, it's because of what I said, right? Now, you can create an atmosphere where kids can love something, right? But you want to be careful that you don't force them into a mold. You see, even if they don't like it starting out, what you don't want to do is to force them to like it. Their liking something will only be sustainable if it is their choice to like it. If it is their choice to like it. I know that if you talk to the Williams sisters today, the example you made, if you talk to them today, I know that maybe one of them, who is even today is the best, I don't think she would love to be a tennis player. Yeah. Tennis has done good for her. But if you talk to them today, right, they might not really. But the fact is, because look at what they're doing now. Serena is going to a lot of fashion. The fact is, the other side is even talking about acting in a movie and all those kind of things. So you don't want kids to grow up and thinking that they have missed something. What's the way out? At that age, give them options and watch which one. It's as simple as my granddaughter lives with me and she has challenges eating. And what do we always tell us? What does she like to eat? Give her what she likes to eat. Don't force her into balanced diet. That's not important now. We want something in her tummy, right? What does she like to eat? Give her that. After a while, she might begin to seek other things. So, throw options there. We've introduced her into music. She's doing some sports. We are beginning to see she doesn't really like her piano teacher. Yeah. We bought a good piano at home. She loves to go sprint in the stadium. To go and run, yeah. She enjoys that more. To go and run. But after a while, you see it because it's so dynamic.
It's very dynamic.
You see, in fact, last week, she said, when is Uncle Amos coming? That's the piano teacher. Yeah. I said, now you are going on holidays, Uncle Amos will come back. I said, okay, I want. So it's because she might just go off. But many times we've already have our own idea of what this child should be. But we must give them options. They must be the ones who decide, who decide to love that thing. So it's so important.
You guys want to come in now? Or I should flow. No.
Thinking.
Yeah.
Yeah, focusing now more on parenting and asking questions.
Because these things you have mentioned
Yeah.
really throws up the issue of discipline.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we see from culture to culture how discipline sort of rises and falls. In Far East, for instance, Chinese government could take a child at 4 and make that person an Olympic swimmer by 16.
Absolutely.
Or a gymnast, I mean, apparently now they don't even care whether the child is likes it or not.
Yeah. Yeah.
The government has taken you. You belong to the state. You are for their, whims and caprices, right? Mm-hmm. All right. So very high discipline.
Discipline is we have to contextualize it, right? Because Africa and Asia, we have a lot of things in common. What's a bit different about Asia, again, is their communist kind of background, And honestly, that's the way they are wired. I mean, in a place where they can legislate that you can only have one child, and nobody, even if they complain, they can't. So they have, but you will also see that many of them can only exist, very well where they are. They can't engage with the rest of the world.
Okay.
So we have to be able to situate discipline. In that place, I don't see that as discipline. That's coercion. Right? That child might become an Olympic gold medalist. But it doesn't mean that that child is fulfilled. It doesn't mean. It might bring glory to the country. That guy is not involved in that thing. It's like a machine. And that's inhuman. Mm-hmm. That's very inhuman. There's the other extreme where we just leave them to just go wild. You see, there is a place in the middle. There's a place in the middle where, because liberty, the first principle of liberty is limitation. If you don't understand the principle of limitation, you cannot be liberated. Right? You cannot be liberated. Liberty, the first thing you need to consider in liberty is limitation. Because if I am free and you are free, I must be able to recognize where I'm limited in your own freedom. Mm-hmm. That's where there's peace. So there is because, my heart is with us in Africa, especially in Nigeria. We begin to just take whatever is Western to be civilization. They said, don't spank your children. Oh, that's ungodly. Right? Even the Bible says that stupidity is bound up in the heart of the child. The rod of correction. That's what we always miss. It is a rod of correction, not a rod of punishment. There's a principle that I normally share with people. When a child misbehaves, you want to, first of all, before you do anything with that child, ask yourself questions. Is it childishness or is it rebellion? If it is childishness, you don't punish for childishness. Children are bound to be what? To be childish. If it is rebellion, you don't want to overlook it. Every time, you want to correct, punish for rebellion. Because from that age, that child is being taught about consequences. You do something wrong, you must see the consequences. Life is about choices and consequences. Because sometimes we are too protective. And we believe that this issue of you don't talk to a little child. Right? You don't talk to a little, he won't understand you. That's the language you understand, spank. Right? I'm not saying inflict injury like the way my dad would do it. Because if my dad canes you and you have not, maybe you, out of fear, wee on yourself, he doesn't believe he's done anything. But that worked for that time. But even as we're talking about time, the principle remains the same. There is still a room today for spanking. That's spanking, but we have to be able to draw the line. Are you spanking to inflict injury? Or you are spanking for correction? But many times we don't know where to stop because we are not conscious of what's going on. Right? So, the place of discipline, we have to situate it within our culture. Most of us who turned out good today were products of serious spanking. Right? Spanking doesn't kill a child. Because people are saying that you can spank the child to a place to point of death. That's no longer spanking. We're talking because even when we use this spanking, it's so soft. Cane the child. That's what we say here. You know.
Why?
You know, but it's a fatherly, because you know, when we were growing up, if you do something wrong in the house and my father refused to cane you, you know that thing is very grievous. That thing is now very, very serious. Because we have been able to see the trend. When he canes, we see it as acceptance. But when he refused to cane you, the next morning you greet him and he doesn't answer. It is more painful than the cane. But you see, I see a generation now, young girls, young boys, young adults, they can't even stand rebuke. You tell them they've done something wrong, they just coil into themselves. It's lack of accurate parenting. They can't stand it. You know, they've done something wrong, just words of mouth, they just see it as rejection. This guy doesn't like me. The only way we see love now is when something good is being done to you. We can't see the good in correction. And I can correct a stranger. I only correct those I know, those I have a relationship with. Yeah. Right? Why can't you see correction as love? We don't, because most homes are failing. Most homes don't have curfews again when to come home. They don't have curfews. Yeah. So because we see those things now, because of the way the West tells us you cannot do that. You know, thank God we don't have 911 here. Right? Because children call 911 on their parents. And you wonder why those societies are really hitting ground zero. Ours are not there yet because we still have a basic culture of respect, but we're losing it. And we have to sensibly, we are fast losing it. Discipline has become something there are times when we actually leave our kids to make a mistake and let them learn. Because they will learn from that mistake much more than any kind of words that you can tell them.
All right. I think just one more. We have a little bit of time before we go.
Okay.
All right. And hearing you give answers to these questions, I just had to ask myself, what if a parent is wrong? You know, because you talked about the decoder. You go into society and whatever society gives back to you, if it doesn't agree with what you have gotten from home, is wrong. So what if, because
in the unlikely case that the parent...
I give you this instance.
Okay.
I've heard you say, I could call you my parent, I've heard you say that good things come slowly. You know that, it takes time and effort to get things done.
Yeah.
Good things done. And I believe it. Now I think about the things that I do in my spare time. And society tells me, man, you need to be that...
Quick money.
No, not just quick money, but society may tell me something like produce and send out as fast as you can, right? That there's a word, they call it shipped is better than perfect. Shipped is better than perfect, all right? So develop it immediately and send it out, all right? And then now start perfecting it small, but it must be as fast as possible. And I ask myself, all right, so what do I do here?
You know, the society that tells you shipped is better than perfect. By the time you ship the wrong stuff, right? At the same time you are shipping the wrong stuff, you don't know that it might even coincide with a guy who has been focusing on perfect.
Okay.
And then the two products meet in the market. You will never have the opportunity of correcting that.
All right.
Because it's a free market, you know that. So it's a value system. And like I always believe, a guy who is an expert in community transformation, he was asked, what is the best way to transform society? Is it by violence or by good deeds? He said, neither. It is by telling another story. Because many times we don't know where we are. This kind of narrative about quick, and we learn it from home. A lot of parents, I've visited with parents who pay teachers to pass their kids. And let me tell you, that parent is doing that to his or her own understanding out of love. Right? But that parent also knows that he's laying a bad foundation. When you pay a teacher, I've had a parent tell me, oh, your daughter is having problem with that lecturer. Send him credit. Send airtime to his phone. That's a parent. That's a parent. And I thank God, for the opportunity he's given me to be able to correct it in that institution. Because now I do a bit of a consultancy work for them. So there are a lot of parents like that, right? They will buy question papers for their kids. Yeah. So I like the question you are asking, that what if the parent is wrong? Because that child will grow up to know that you don't have to work hard to get things in life. My dad will get it for me. That particular person eventually will become a problem to society. But there are times also where there might be hope, where life will push that guy to the wall, and he will be able to turn back and know that my father did something wrong, right? Even if he begins to do things right from that time, he has an issue with his dad. To trust will be very, very difficult. He has a challenge now of forgiveness. That why did you do that for me? So that kind of person will always walk with a limp. It will take, I'm telling you, it's going to take something much more than what any kind of earthly system can do to make that kind of person a well-rounded. And that's why today I agree with you in one of the things you said, that now we have a downward, I've forgotten the way you put it, a downward mobility in society. Because you know that the father who did that, the parent who did that also maybe learned it from somewhere. So it's a chain. It's a chain. But we are here on this program to be able to, to start something new, to begin to tell another story. Fast, quick, it doesn't guarantee that it's, it's right. Yeah. In fact, nothing good is ever done on a fast lane. Yeah. I always like Levi Jeans, Levi Strauss. They will always say, they said, quality never goes out of fashion. Quality, it never goes, it is superior to trends. And it takes time to build quality.
With that, I'll say thank you, Dr. Reggie.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Isaac, and thank you, Rolake.
You're welcome.
No child just turns out good, and no child just turns out bad. Credit the parents or debit the parents.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Well, I've had a fantastic time. Thank you, sir. Join us again next week, Friday. Set your alarm for 5 o'clock and be part of this. Thank you.
Give us a call or chat us on WhatsApp on 081 4456 9000. Check out our website and interact with us on www.answerswithdrreju.com. Like our Facebook page, Answers with Dr. Reju, or send us an email at answerswithdrreju@gmail.com. On Twitter, we are @DrRejuAnswers. You can also subscribe to our YouTube channel, Answers with Dr. Reju, where you can get all our episodes. Join us again on Answers with Dr. Reju, where critical life issues are clarified.